Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy, it's David. I'm just a dad. I'm trying to make sure you guys are the best version of yourself so you guys can call yourself the best dad ever. And on the last episode, we talked about addictions, and I promised that I was going to talk about what has been my biggest vice and the biggest hurdle that I've had to overcome and the most difficult challenge in my life thus far. Um, and I'm gonna keep you guys guessing a little bit. Drop a comment down below if you guys have a few different guesses or if you guys are struggling with the same things that I've struggled with. Um, yeah, last episode we talked about kind of the surface level things, right? The addictions that are kind of easy to navigate and easy to be aware of, right? We talked about the addictions of our phone and being tied to our, you know, our screens all the time. But first, let's talk about the addictions that I've overcome and rank them in terms of the least difficult to the most difficult thus far. So, obviously, for me, alcohol and drinking was really easy to overcome. So, I'm going to rank them first, which wasn't my thing. I think, there are health consequences from drinking, and there is a lot of physical ailments that come from drinking. The physical effects of being hungover, it's just not for me. Um, so drinking was something I gave up really easily. It doesn't really fit my lifestyle. I don't need it to have fun, right? So I moved on from that. The next addiction that I had um, was a little bit more difficult to give up was cigarettes. Cigarettes, nicotine, tobacco. Um, I worked in the restaurant food service industry in college, and I picked up smoking cigarettes with my coworkers. It was a social thing. It became a social habit when I went out and partied and had a few drinks. Lighting up a cigarette was kind of like a thing. But once again, it was easy to give up because the dopamine from it wasn't really high, and it came with that smell. Obviously, that evolved into like vapes and the jewels, and those were addicting too because they were super accessible. But as I became healthier as a person, those vices were easy to get rid of. Um, the next addiction that I was able to overcome that was a little bit more difficult was marijuana. Marijuana was a little bit more difficult because obviously the dopamine from the ritual of packing a bowl and rolling up a spliff and sharing that moment with friends or your partners um, gave me some sort of happiness, right? And it's super normalized, it's super accepted in society since its legalization in recent times, and obviously the different ways you can consume it makes it really pervasive in your day-to-day life, right? Like vaping and edibles. You can sneak one in the morning and nobody would really know, nobody would smell it on you, right? You can be high all day and fly under the radar, and that's like something that I got caught up in, especially because I used the next substance that I was addicted to. I was addicted to Adderall in my professional career, especially. Um, but it started off in college, right? I would cram for my test and I would take all nighters to do, a last minute project or study for a last minute test. And in doing so, I would rely on Adderall to have the energy and concentration to stay up all night. And it was a horrible, horrible habit. And then, I continued that habit in my professional career by using Adderall to stay focused on the task at hand in my professional career and work long hours and to do the projects that I didn't really love doing, but I just was my responsibility, right? Because I was caught up in just trying to deliver value in my line of work. So So I got addicted to Adderall. I was using it daily, and it was tough. You know, it took a toll on my health. It took a toll on my mind. Obviously, it messes with your chemical balance and the way we feel emotions. As a consequence of, you know, this false sense of focus and, you know, being locked in, right? And I was able to overcome it because I just realized that it wasn't me. It was the things that I was working on that didn't align with my heart and my soul. And it just, you know, was the conflict between the two. So, and also on top of that, because I was using Adderall, I ended up, you know, relying on other substances like marijuana to level myself out, etc. It just became like a big slippery slope. But obviously, as I found myself and I worked on becoming a better person, a better human, a better man, I got healthier physically, mentally, spiritually, and in doing so, I started letting go of these vices. As I got clean from Adderall, I got clean from marijuana, I got clean from drinking. You know, I didn't need to smoke a Juul while I was all cracked out on Adderall at work, you know. And it's crazy because all of these things were happening and I was such a high functioning version of myself in the professional realm, right? Like I was smashing it in terms of delivering value to the corporation and being the top dog in the office. But it came with a price. It came with a price because there was a sense of separation from who I really needed to be. And I was unhealthy, and I thought I was healthy because I wasn't like morbidly obese or anything like that, but I wasn't as healthy as I could be. Because I was drinking, because I was smoking, because I was smoking weed, and because I was on Adderall every day. I just wasn't myself. And it was tough, but I was able to overcome that because I found myself, and I really ended up wanting to be the best version of myself. But still, till this day, right, the most difficult addiction has been pornography and porn usage. And I'm talking about this today to bring light to it because it's such a taboo topic for a lot of men.